Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from Yellowcat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Divorce lawyers of Reddit. What plot twists or crazy antics or demands have you seen go down from either spouse? I was in a mediation where it took the couple an hour and a half to split their personal property, retirement accounts, real property, and custody of their 6-month-old son. The rest of the day, about 4 hours, was spent arguing about how to split the time with the dog. For the kid, they just put as agreed upon by the parties. But the dog had a strict calendared schedule working out holidays and strict pickup/drop-off times. I was ashamed to be part of that unbelievable display. Took the couple 2 hours to decide who would get the groceries left in the fridge. Estimated value of the groceries was around $40. 2 hours of my time, opposing counsel time, and mediator time added up to about $1,000. It all came down to a Costco/Sam's Club sized jar of peanut butter. Who keeps peanut butter in the fridge? I had a case where the estranged wife was calling my client's employer repeatedly, accusing him of theft and other white-collar crimes to try getting my client fired. The thing is, the children were with her, and she was also demanding child support, which is based on his income, for the job from which she was trying to get him fired. Fortunately, the employer was onto her BS, and my client wasn't let go. OD, very similar situation. My mom's fiance worked for a major company that delivers supplies/uniforms/etc. to the other companies. He had gone through a nasty divorce with his ex, who is a completely psychotic C from what I've seen and researched in court docs. They have shared custody. Well, one day she calls up his employer's corporate office and says that one of their employees is breaking the job code by taking pictures while on the job as he was driving. Mostly from stuff like when the Avengers were shooting and he was stuck in traffic going nowhere. This, on a corporate level, means instant termination if true. The pictures weren't even public to begin with, and she was only able to access them through their daughter's Gmail account while the daughter was logged in. She copied them and sent them to corporate. He then lost his job of 22 years. His boss couldn't do anything to help as it was a corporate firing. Here is the kicker. She then sees him in court the next week since they were already scheduled to discuss custody. She is always trying to get full with supervised visitation. In court, she brings up how he doesn't have a job and then demands full custody since he is an unfit parent. Judge tells her that there is no way in 8 she is getting custody and she is more of an unfit parent than he is. He continues to tell her that she just caused the main source of support for their child to become unemployed based entirely off her decision to call in and report it. The first time I ever left the courthouse with a grin on my face as she finally got what she deserved. I go with him for moral support, and the courthouse is 2 blocks from my house, so it's not out of my way. I was a clerk for a law firm in Marin County. The husband grew weed in the house. The town was supportive and even let him redo his electrical panel to accommodate his crop. Long story short, in the divorce, she demanded half of the weed proceeds. Today, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but 12 years ago, I was shocked to see that in a court document. Not a divorce lawyer, but my sister just went through a nasty divorce. It sounds like a movie you would see on Lifetime. They split up after 28 years of marriage because he fell in love with a lesbian stripper half his age. He emptied their savings and borrowed against their 401k so the lesbian could start her own lesbian bar, which was bankrupt after 6 months. More details. First of all, my now ex-brother-in-law is the least likely guy to do something like this. Imagine Mr. Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver cheating on Mrs. Cleaver. Totally unexpected. My sister found text messages on his phone. The lesbian in question already had 2 children. Yes, I know, not a very good lesbian. And was pregnant at the time she met my bro-in-law. The lesbian would show up at his work approximately once a week and get a check even though she was not employed there. He bought her a car and rented a house for her for a year, paid in advance. Even when all of this came out, my sister wanted to reconcile. At the first counseling session, he gets up after 15 minutes and says something like, "Nope, not gonna happen," and leaves. So her divorce lawyer requests financial documents from his business to decide alimony and child support. I forgot to mention they have 4 children together, the youngest of which is in college right now. Anyway, he didn't want to release any of the financial documents pertaining to this business, so my sis says, "Fine, I get the house and car and you get all the debt." He agreed to that, which makes me want to know what he's trying to hide by not releasing the documents. Anyway, the divorce was just finalized and my sister is devastated. This is the only man she's ever been with. They met in college and now 28 years later, nothing. The worst part is, if he asked her, I wouldn't be surprised if she took him back. I would lose all respect for her and do my best to talk her out of it. It was a real shock. I know that divorce is common, but not in my family. Mom and Dad were married 49 years before Mom passed, and none of my numerous siblings went through a divorce. Big scandal. I had a couple arguing for 3 hours over who got the kids on Christmas Day, only to discover at the end that they were both Jewish. I had another woman who said that her husband drained $60K from their community bank account to pay for a S-change operation that he never told her he was planning to do. Not a divorce attorney, but I clerked for a judge that handled divorce cases. We had a couple that were both lieutenant colonels in the Air Force. They had one daughter that was about 11 or 12. Both had graduate degrees and were generally intelligent people. Well, the husband had an affair and things went sour with the relationship. The daughter was at that age where her relationship with the mother was starting to get a little strained, and she mentioned how she wanted to stick with her dad because he was about to be stationed elsewhere and the parents would be going their separate ways. The mother absolutely freaked. The first thing she did was go to the local police department and claim the father had been emming and R-ing the daughter. They investigated and couldn't find any evidence, so they dropped the case. The mother, still furious, then goes to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations and reports the same thing. The Air Force then suspends the husband from duty and conducts their own investigation. Same result, no evidence of wrongdoing, and the case is dropped. The mother then goes to the next state over where the husband is about to be transferred and contacts the local police there with the same story about M&R. They of course do their own investigation, but same results, case is dropped. Of course, this whole time the daughter has been interviewed a dozen times by psychologists, various therapists, the police, the Air Force, and who knows else. The daughter is straight up traumatized by this. People constantly asking her if her dad had been touching her / R-ing her and so forth. Not to mention the harm it did to her father's career. He was basically screwed from any possible promotion just because of the allegations. As well as the fact that infidelity in the military is a big no. But that was his own doing. Well, once word of all this gets back to the judge, he is furious. He's a former Air Force JAG and still has contacts in the ranks. Well, anyway, the couple comes in front of him one day for a hearing and he outright tells her she better stop this behavior or he's going to hold her in contempt of court for the maximum amount of time he can lawfully hold her in a cell, contact the DA and recommend the filing of charges, contact her Air Force superiors and recommend reprimand to the fullest extent possible, and basically anything and everything he can do within his power. It was one of the most messed up things I've seen during my relatively short experience in the legal world. A father and his friend go to pick up his child for some time together. He rings the buzzer of the apartment, no reply. He phones 2, no answer. This is odd because he is there at the scheduled time and the mother never misses an opportunity to claim that he doesn't care about spending time with his child and that he routinely misses scheduled times together. The father and the friend figure, that's odd, let's walk around the back to the parking lot to see if her car is still here. They go around to the back to find the mother and child sneaking down the back stairs to leave the building. The child sees the father and yells, "Hi, Daddy," then turns to his mother and says, "See, I told you Dad was coming to see me today." Hate to be the not a lawyer but, however, this is still in line for what kind of story you're looking for, I think. Basically, rich couple had a really bad falling out. The husband decided that he so hated his ex-wife that he hid all of their money and, last I heard, is still in jail for contempt of court for refusing to give up the location. So yeah, a few years now. Must be a special kind of hate to risk an indefinite sentence, since you can be in jail basically as long as you're held in contempt, which he kept doing each court appearance just to deny your ex money. My dad was a divorce attorney for some time. He said people would argue over $150 patio furniture for hours on end at a $300 an hour rate, each side. It's not about the patio furniture, it's about sending a message to your bee of an ex-husband or wife. I'm not a lawyer, but this is a story about my uncle and it's quite brilliant. My uncle has been a lifelong videographer and still works to this day as a news photographer. During the early to late 90s, he stopped shooting news and started shooting freelance. This was before everyone and their mom and their moms had a camera / editing software / whatnot. Eventually, he became a sought-after photographer. In the late 80s, when he was working as a news photographer, he met and married a reporter / news anchor, of which he would go on to have 2 children with. After leaving the news business to freelance, he decided to start a video editing business with his wife. That went extremely well for a while, and they were making money hand over fist. He would be asked to shoot for channels such as Food Network and HGTV, DIY, etc., and then edit it into the show. She would work as the middlewoman for his clients and as bookkeeper. Eventually, she would turn out to be a secret substance abuser and adulterer, and their marriage ended in divorce. At this point, my uncle was making a couple $100K a year with their business. She decided to sue him for alimony, mostly because he was worth a good chunk of change, but also because she helped him build his business. Her demands were ridiculous, something like 75% of the business for the next so many years or something crazy. My uncle's lawyer was afraid she was going to win because she had played such a big role in building the biz. Fast forward to court day, her lawyer stands in front of the judge and lists off what she wants in the divorce. Once he is finished, it's my uncle's turn. He blindsides her and offers to give her 100% of the business. The judge and both lawyers are confused and ask him if he is sure. Without him shooting and editing, there is no business. So basically, she would be left with an H of a lot less than she asking for by asking for X amount of profits. The judge reasoned that his offer was fair and that she could take it or leave it. She was peed, her lawyer was peed, and she ended up getting nothing. Thank you for watching. Guys, thank you for all the support and the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.